anything you do a lot of times in time, you will regard as mundane. So what does that mean? Or what is the meaning behind it? Two different things. So the idea was that I remember back in high school when I took the bus, I had to go on like a traffic. I don't even know if this is a thing. Traffic island. Do you even know what that means? Yes, I hope you do. Otherwise, you have to Google it. I don't know if this exists in America. America's sometimes weird with their stuff. But there's like basically there's like a median, right? So you have a pedestrian walkway, then there's the road on one side, then in the middle of the road there is an island where you can actually like walk to, and then there's the other side of the road, and then the another walkway, basically. So just Google traffic island and you see what I mean. And the idea is that there was one which was placed just before sort of the bus station, and that's fine. But the issue is that I walked onto it, and on the left there was traffic coming towards me. That's fine, not an issue, because those ones you were able to see, and that was fine. But if you were on the island and then looked to the right, there was traffic coming from a more rural-ish road, which is a higher traffic speed, right? So they would always be a little bit faster than you would anticipate. And that's where a lot of time when I was about to cross that crossing, I was nervous, which is very strange, right? It's like, what the heck? Like, it's just it's a crossing, right? Nothing's happening. And obviously you can literally just stop on the island and then just go when there's empty roads. But for some reason, that was a thing, right? I don't know what it was. But due to the fact that I had to cross this, the crossing over there, like every day to get to the school bus, at some point, it became mundane. And at some point, I was no longer nervous. Now, this didn't happen in a discrete way, meaning it didn't happen, you're nervous at a 1, and then one day you're nervous at a 0. That's not how that works. I think barely anything in like human nature and biology works like that. It's always some sort of smoothing function that's like overlaid on top of it, or some sort of it's some sort of smoothing function, right? So it's definitely floating point numbers. We started at, let's say, 1.0, and then it slowly decreased, or maybe it decreased not at all at first, and then it decreased sort of exponentially, and then it just went to basically 0. Because at some point, when you do something, a lot of times it becomes mundane. And that's basically what you want. The crazy thing is, and this is incredible, because this is a very good thing. That means that anything you might be afraid of can actually become mundane and could be overcome. How crazy is that? Now, I don't know what it is, and listen, it's very easy to sort of think about, oh, this is not a real fear. Yeah, okay, I mean, yeah, but like, let's suppose the thing that you actually fear the most, and then take that feeling and then just say that the person's feeling that same thing, right? Like, I'm just gonna pull something out of the air. Let's say if someone is afraid of elevators, right? Then you're like, come on, that's not a fear. Okay, take your fear. It doesn't matter what it is. Spiders, that's a big one. Snakes, I don't even know. Talking to the cashier, some people have that fear as well. But you know what I mean, right? It's like, if that is your actual like big fear, then take the feeling you have of that fear and suppose that the person who says to you, "This is my fear," that they feel the same way. All of a sudden, it's not as funny anymore, right? Even though you might not agree with this is the thing. You might not agree with the subject of the fear, but you will agree with the feeling of the fear. So, because that and that's sometimes that's sadly a thing. And yeah, it's basically, the sentence, anything you do a lot of times will be regarded as mundane. It's more or less a tenet of like exposure therapy, right? Because you just have to be exposed to a sort of stimuli in a controlled-ish way, and then there you go. And this actually leads me to a very interesting thing that I have, that I thought about. I just had that thought. I saw a podcast. I cannot remember for the life of me what it was. I'm sorry. I'm listening to too many things. I should write it down in the future. But there was one thing where someone said about, I think it was Chris Williamson. It was about sort of when people nowadays, young people, like they sort of diagnose themselves with like all of these disorders. They self-diagnose, and one of the reasons is because they think that any hardship or any weird feelings they have when they're teenagers is abnormal. That couldn't be further from the truth, by the way. But that's sort of the thing, right? And then they are not forced, let's say, to do certain things that anyone had to do. So let's say I take the example from the beginning that I had. I am afraid to go, cross the traffic island. So I talk to my mom or my dad and I say, listen, I'm not crossing that traffic island. I don't like it. I don't want to go there. I have to, you have to bring me to school. And so they do, right? All of a sudden, I actually reinforce the fear because I've successfully avoided it, but I haven't really avoided it, because in your life you will cross another traffic island at some point, and then the fear will return 1,000-fold because you let that dragon, that was a small dragon, you let that grow, and you let it grow in the darkness, and that's where it's gonna bite your head off, because then you will never be able to cross even a street. To like just take that example and like extrapolate it out. And I think that sometimes happens with young people where it's like, I don't think it's all of them, obviously, right? But some of them, I think there's a bit of too much coddling going on in that instance. It's like, oh, we don't have to force them. It's like, no, I mean, you're forcing them to go to school, right? So it's not like, because you could say, oh, you shouldn't force, anything on the kids. You're forcing them to go to school, right? It's like you're forcing them to learn math, and you're forcing them to do a lot of things. So don't be like, oh, you shouldn't force them to do anything. No, there should be some amount of direction given. That is always best, right? If you do not, and this is, yes, I will compare the dogs to the kids, because I think that makes sense. If you don't teach your dog tricks, or you just let the dog be, I don't think it's going to be as happy of a dog as if you taught him tricks and the dog has something to live for, basically, and to do. And I think it's a similar thing with kids. The development of the child, it just needs something like that. Like, it needs a little bit of not only pushback, but also just a little bit of rigidity. Now, within this rigidity, right, I'm going to do a metaphor. Within the walled garden, you have a patch of wild flowers, right? That's the point, right? That's why we like that stuff, because it's like, oh yeah, we're going to have some nature in here, but we're going to have it controlled, right? So I think it's fair, but yeah, I don't know. It's, I think it is a disservice to always say, no, we're going to protect you from XYZ because you don't like it. I don't think that's a good idea, because anything you do, a lot of times, at some point, you will regard as mundane, and thus you will have conquered the fear of it. Unbelievable. I really like this. I'm going to tie this back to, so there's one last point. I'm going to tie this back a little bit to my stuff. I really wanted to get back into streaming. I've streamed, I always streamed a little bit, from here to there sometimes, and I basically always did a birthday stream, but the thing about it is that when I do streams once a week, right, on Mondays, I usually do a Monday stream, then what happens is that it turns into an event, quote unquote, for me, and that makes it more significant than it actually is. It's just a stream. It's just like, basically just like this recording. At the very beginning, I was also nervous when I recorded it in English, right? I was super nervous, and you can hear it in the first recordings. But nowadays, it's a normal thing. I don't even think about it. I put on the record button, bam, we're going. And the same thing will hopefully also soon happen for streaming. And the same thing can happen for anything you do. So keep that in mind. Anything you do a lot of times will be regarded as mundane. And so, hope to hear you, or hope to speak to you